Hi everyone, and welcome back to Herzography. In this episode, I'd like to give you a brief overview of something that photographers like myself, perhaps even if you haven't been in the field that long, you might have shot some film and want to digitize it. But for some of us, we have piles and piles of transparencies that we've been shooting for years and years and years. So, wanting to go back through those and take a look and say, yeah, I'd really like to take a look and see if that one is something that I'd like to work on with Photoshop today and everything that Photoshop can now do that maybe it couldn't back in the day, and take a look at some of those possibilities that we didn't think of back then, but that we're thinking of today, because there are so many new tools at our fingertips that perhaps we want to take a look at digitizing some of these transparencies from back in the day and go ahead and then put them through the process of seeing if it's something we want to share and have fun with. So let me go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to give you, as I said, this is going to be a brief overview of the equipment that I use and how I get things set up. I have this Kaiser RA1 stand. There are a number of Kaiser stands out there. This one I'll link to below. You need something that is pretty sturdy. I know I've seen some photographers put transparencies up against the window or against a piece of frosted glass on the window and then put their camera on a tripod and shoot. And you know what? If that works for you, great. But I want to show you some techniques here that are going to give you a different way of thinking about how to capture your transparencies or negatives, I've done both, from your past, and give you some great digital files to work with. So, as I said, I'm using this Kaiser stand. I put an Arca Swiss compatible mount on here just to make it very easy to be able to take my camera, put it right on here, and that's nice and sturdy. Of course, I'm always giving it a little jiggle just to make sure that everything's in there nice and tight. I have my macro lens on, and I'm not really going to set up anything else. I can use a cable release. I've done that before. I've used a self timer in something like this. I don't think that really matters which one you're going to use. I like having one of these bubble levels that's like a 3D bubble level, because even though everything is pretty much set up correctly, you can never be too sure, and sure enough, I am not 100% level there. The other one I can't change, but I can always change this one and then just tighten it up a bit, and now I'm all set there. I'm going to leave that on there because there's no reason to take it off, and that way if I happen to bump it accidentally, I'll be able to see that right away. All right, so let's take a look. I have this light box here, and this light box, I will put a link to it in the show notes. I believe it's from Negative Supply, and I believe it's on here somewhere. I probably covered it up with my tape, but it's from Negative Supply, and you can see on here that I've cut a piece of black material. And this piece of black material that is very flexible that you can see I put on here is just some material that I picked up. Actually, it's for our toaster oven. And for the bottom tray in the toaster oven, you get this black material that is very flexible, solid, opaque, black. Anything that you have like that, that'll work like that, will be great. This, when I turn it on, you can see I get some nice light up in there. I'm going to usually take my screen and have that flipped around. 1 second here. I need to see it. Okay, so I have my screen flipped up like this. Normally I'm facing this way because my copy stand is up against the wall, but for demonstration purposes for right now, I'm going to set it up like this. And so then I'm kind of moving it like that. Now, let me turn this off because it's a little bit bright. I'm using this mask holder from Lomography. This was the only one that I could find, and it has proven to be a very, very great mask holder. I wind up having to follow the directions on here, on and off, for putting the transparency in here, but it is fairly simple. Always good to have a number of cleaning cloths. You'll see that I use these magic cleaner cloths from VisibleDust out of Toronto. Not sure how much longer Canada is going to be sending them this way, but these cloths are great. I've used them for years and years and years, and I love them. So I always recommend using some nice white gloves. We always used to use the Kodak cotton gloves. I'm pretty sure they're still available. These are more of a nylon glove, and I find these just to be, they breathe a little bit better. My hands don't sweat as much in them, and you might get away with not using gloves, but I don't recommend it because I like to be able to go like this with my gloves. You're going to be putting your transparency in, and then this goes on top, keeps it nice and sealed. The top comes down, this comes off, put that aside, and the bottom doesn't stick to it. So now you can see the transparencies are in there very securely. So when I'm putting this on, I have to remember which way I'm doing that, like so, you'll see there's a lot of extra light coming through. And that extra light that's coming through can give you some flare. You can also get flare from everywhere else in your room. Now, this black material, I have cut some pieces of it just to be able to lay over like this. So that cuts down on a lot of the lens flare. The other thing you can use that I'll have in the show notes are actual tubes, and they're black tubes that kind of will help keep away any lens flare. Like right now I'm not going to do a shoot because I've got my lights on for the camera so that you can see me, but normally I have this in a dark room. Some people might need these tubes, and you'll see those on my gear list, which are these nice plastic black tubes for keeping away that flare. So then I would line this up in the screen. I'd probably use another sheet of that black film that I have if I have multiple images in there. And I would probably do something like that. So I know you can't see it, but that way it keeps it all lined up. Now, a real nice advantage to shooting like this is that if I want to get in closer, now of course depending upon which lens you have, you know, and right now I have focus peaking on, I'm able to get into this transparency, and even though, you know, I always like to get it right in the camera, now I have the option of getting in even closer. so I can get in closer if there's a particular part of the image that I feel that I want to perhaps get into and not have to crop too much afterwards. You know, even though that's not as much of an issue today as it was maybe 10 years ago, it's always nice to get into the image kind of as far in as you would like to, so that you don't have to crop as much afterwards. And as I'm looking at this image, I'm really liking it. I'm seeing that it is, I am getting nice and close to be able to capture the full transparency and maybe even a little bit closer. So these are the tools that I use when I'm doing my copy work. I'm going to do another video soon where I'll actually show you the image, and we'll do some cropping and some imaging of some 6x12 and some bigger transparencies, some 4x5. That's why I like this light box. I have the 4x5 light box, so I can do everything from 4x5 to my 120 35 millimeter. I don't have really any 35 millimeter to scan. It's all 120 and 4x5. So I love this light box. The color quality out of it is phenomenal for negative supply. The copy stand is rock solid. Using a macro lens and a level, well, I can just keep this set up over to the side, and when I have a little spare time, I'll put a transparency and put my camera up and create some files, and then have a lot of fun with them once I get some of these 30-year-old transparencies into Photoshop and start working on them with current technology. So it's a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, give me a like, and you'll see some other videos coming up soon where we'll delve into this a little bit more to give you more of a hands-on and step-by-step. Thanks for joining me, and bye for now.